Every financial expert tells us that we need to be super strict with all of our money. Like we need to budget every dollar. We need to essentially live a financially celibate life. But in reality, most people who start a budget quit after just a few months. Okay, now I want to introduce you to a concept that I think is really going to change the way that you think about budgeting and cash flow, especially if you've ever struggled with this. It's called the GEL framework. So give, experience, and live. And it's like a personal cash flow framework, and it's balanced, and I think that's why it works. And for most of us, when we think about budgeting, man, it just sucks. And I get it. I mean, every financial expert tells us that we need to be super strict with all of our money. Like we need to budget every dollar. We need to essentially live a financially celibate life. But in reality, most people who start a budget quit after just a few months. Why? Because budgets, like diets, are all about restriction. And as we've learned from working with thousands of people with their health in age 40, restriction is not the path to long-term success. Like we don't want to live that way. We're after abundance. But to get there, we've got to understand cash flow. You have to know where your money is going and what it's doing for you. And that's where GEL comes in. So GEL is not some hardcore budgeting system where you're going to need to track every single dollar. It's a loose framework. It's a more natural way to think about your money that's going to lead you to financial freedom without feeling like you're being strangled by a spreadsheet. So here's how it works. GEL breaks down into 3 simple buckets: give, experience, and live. And the goal with the GEL framework is balance. It's to keep everything in balance. That means the target is for 50 to 60% of your take-home pay, your net income, to go towards that living expense bucket. And then the other half to be divided between giving and experiencing. If we look at this on a scale, the goal is to live off of around half of our income. But if your basic living expenses are 65, 70, even 75%, then there's not going to be enough room left over for the other half of GEL. So let's dig into our living expenses. So housing is probably going to take around 20 to 25% of our total net income. Transportation may take 10 to 15%. And this, I think, is where we can take a hard look at how we're living. If our rent, our mortgage is 30 to 40% of our income and we're spending another 15% on car payments, then it's no wonder you're stressed out. You might need to consider actually living somewhere else or driving a cheaper car, maybe a used car. Because if you think you're going to scrimp your way to wealth by cutting out the daily Starbucks run, it's not going to happen. Sure, you could stop getting that Starbucks sugary drink every day for your health, but that's a completely different conversation. The bigger issue here is like your major expenses. So stuff like housing and transportation. So yes, as part of this framework, you're gonna need to sit down with a pen and paper, a calculator, to figure out exactly what you're spending on all of these sort of living expenses. And then hopefully that leaves us with 40 to 50% of our income to allocate towards giving and experiencing. So when you hear the word give, you probably think of charity. And yes, that's part of it. But giving goes way beyond just giving to someone else. Think of it like this. Every dollar that comes into your life is cash flow. And what you do with that cash flow determines what comes next. When you give money, whether it's to a nonprofit, a new business, an investment account, or even investing in yourself, you're gifting your future self. And I think that's a huge epiphany for most people. We're not just talking about giving money to church or charity or someone else. We're talking about giving to our future selves. This money, that money, is going to shape our futures. And I can tell you, one of the smartest things that I ever did was invest in myself in my 20s. That was a gift to me right now, sitting here talking to you. That investment built this company in this life. So it's not just about giving to others. When we're saving and investing, we're creating the conditions for freedom that are going to happen later on in life. And that's a powerful mental shift. We're going to talk about debt reduction in the next module, but that also comes out of the give bucket. When you eliminate bad debt, you're absolutely giving your future self a gift. And I think some people don't allocate much to this give bucket because they think they just don't have enough yet. But here's what I'll say. You don't have enough because you're not giving enough. There's something psychological, something even spiritual when you give more. It's like the universe conspires to help you out, to prop you up. And we've seen this time and time again. Just last year, our church needed some money for a big project and we gave them a chunk. And at the time, I didn't think much about it. It just felt like the right thing to do. But then that fall, we had some of the best, most incredible weather in Northeast Ohio ever, which was perfect for our family farm. We broke records across the board. So crops, apples, pumpkins, revenue, hay rides, attendance. I don't know if this was divine intervention or just coincidence, but I really believe that when you give, good things come back to you. So I want you to think differently about giving now. It definitely includes giving to others, giving causes that matter to you, and it also includes giving to your future self and family. The last part of the GEL framework is experience, and this one is fun, man. I truly believe that the absolute best part about life is experiencing the world with people we love. Life is meant to be lived and enjoyed, and the world, as beautiful as it is, was made for us to explore. But some people, I think, treat their money like it's something to hoard, like they're just protecting it. They're psychologically afraid to spend it on anything that could bring them joy today. And with GEL, we're gonna allocate some of our cash flow to experiencing life, enjoying it like right here, right now. This is all about lifestyle design, not just retiring with this big pot of gold someday. So I want you to think about what makes life worth living for you. So is it traveling? Is it visiting new places, trying new food, going to concerts? I bet you agree that some of the absolute best moments in your life are when you're just out there experiencing the world in a cool new way with people you care about. And it's not just about the big bucket list type experiences. It's gonna be small moments too, like taking your family to spend the day on a farm, eating caramel apples, going through a corn maze, or maybe just having a fun night out together. These memories that you create, these experiences are gonna be worth far more than the money you spent on them. And at first, this might be the smallest bucket on your list in your GEL framework, especially when you're sort of getting past stress level zero and building it into asset freedom, but it's still a super important one. This isn't about just saving up for one big moment in the future. It's about designing a life that you enjoy every day. Now, I know this concept of GEL, it's a conceptual one, but it works. When I did financial planning, I tried to help people with strict budgets, but that didn't work because people just didn't stick to them. That's why I prefer to think of this as like a cash flow thing. So there's cash coming in, and then there's cash going out, and we get to make the decision as to where that cash goes out to. So right now you can take a few minutes, pen, paper, calculator, and figure out exactly what your GEL framework looks like.